So are y'all at the point in your relationship where you can switch phones, have passcodes, see each other's group chats, all the things, and
Yes.
it bothers you not?
Yes.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Both ways.
I think that you freed somebody, though, Helani, when you said that, this is something that you have evolved into. And you still will tell him, sir,
Yep.
not that one. Take it down. Because there are people who, with anybody, I mean, it's human nature to see people who appear to be perfect on social media and feel like everything is perfect. They don't have any issues. There aren't any challenges. There are no disagreements. But you're still human. And just because you've been together 2 decades does not mean that everything is perfect or that you even know every single thing about each other. So I appreciate your honesty for sure. And I want to get into this transition because you transitioned from fire chief, which is badass as hell. Bossy. I want to know how you even got into it. We're going to talk about how you got out of it, but I do want to know how you got into it. But you had a transition from fire chief to entrepreneur, $1 million businesswoman, right? But Jason, you've had transitions as well. So how have you managed to evolve and grow together? Because you could crack up laughing thinking about who you were like the day y'all met versus who you are now and who you've become together. How have y'all been able to do that?
I think just growing and just getting more mature. When we got married, I was 19, he was 20 years old. So communication, what is that? We didn't really understand what that looked like. And so now, he's 40, I'll be 40 in July. And things are just different. Now it's one of those things where as we're transitioning, we transition together. So like when I was coming out of the fire service, literally, that was a topic of conversation in my house consistently of when should I do it, how I should do it, how we're going to, because the transition it's our transition, because it affects both of us. It affects our children. And so I think that's with everything that we do now. Everything is like this. Whereas I'll say when we first got married, we were still operating like this and wondering why we would argue all the time, wondering why we just couldn't see eye to eye. But we were functioning like two single individuals living in the same household. And so once we figured it out and understood, like, we're one and we got to operate as a unit in everything. And so that's what we do. So as we're transitioning from, different jobs or to building different businesses, it's literally us together figuring it out. We plan it out. We talk about everything. It's never one of those things like, I'm going to do this. No, we're going to do it.
Is it permission, though? Do y'all ask permission for things? Jason, you got to clear it by Helani? Can you make the decision and explain it later?
She acts like it's not, but yes, I
really
definitely have to. She don't.
She
Let's
good.
talk about it.
We talk about it.
Let's talk about
Yes, he does have to ask. And let me just say this.
Let me
say this real quick before you even get started, because I already know what you're about to do. So, with
Like,
permission, it's not that he has to ask permission, but you do have to consider me. And so if you got plans to go mastermind on Fridays, I need to know that I'm masterminding on Friday at this particular place. It's a courtesy. And so while he might look at it as like he's asking for permission, I need to know.
That's not it. Here's
What
the
is
thing.
it?
So when you moving and shaking through the city, you know what I mean? You might go here. I'm like, hey, I'm finna go to Sweet Lounge. We're gonna get a drink and we're gonna chill and chop it up. We go to Sweet Lounge. Okay, the crowd don't look right. The valet not right. We shoot across the street to such and such. And then,
But you were supposed to be at the Sweet Lounge.
Exactly.
And I need to know.
I thought you said you were at Sweet. That looks like you at the Green Bar or whatever. I'm like, look, man, I ain't got time to be telling you every
Yes, you
single
do.
move. So
got time
again, I don't want to conform to that. You know what I'm saying? I
You still
explained it to her.
bucking? You still
I'm bucking? Yeah, I got to, because it's like I told you my intentions, but if something changed, it just changed. But she does it all the time. And I'm like, damn, it's like Boogaloo. I thought you were going to Bar Vegan. You know what I mean?
Say something? Or you just don't care? So
He'll say
I
something.
say this. I say, now, when I did that last week, it was an issue. Oh, boy, but boy, I'm
Bye.
like, it's different.
It's different.
But again, like I said, I really don't care. You know what I mean? She cares more than I do. But I will bring it up because she always on me about it.
yeah.
How you gonna bring that? And you be
I
doing
think it comes down to you knowing your partner, though, right?
It does.
And love languages and how you communicate, how you receive love, how you need to get all those things. I think because after 20 years, like, you have to have figured out something.
Oh, absolutely.
And you even just mentioned too, like y'all used to argue every day. Like this is an evolution. So what was the thing? Was it therapy? Was it like what was the thing that took you from fighting like cats and dogs to let's figure this thing out? Like let's look at this as a partnership.
And I can't really pinpoint where that came in, but I do remember we went to 2 counseling sessions, just 2. And I remember the counselor, she taught us how to have disagreements. And those 2 sessions were so valuable because literally we still apply that to this day.
Well, tell it to us. Give us a little free.
Yeah.
So basically, people ask all the time, like, well, so give me some advice, right? And this is just the one thing because it's so unique. It's not the whatever typical advice. So I always say, you know, we learn how to argue. Like, what do you mean? Like, we literally learn how to argue. So it's like this. I go, she goes, right? I go, she goes. We do it twice. If we don't see eye to eye, or if we don't agree, we drop it. But the thing is, like, when she's talking, I can't be preparing my next statement. Like, you really got to truly
Listen.
work on that part. You know what I mean? And we mess up sometimes, but I truly want to hear her. And sometimes when she's talking, I'm talking, she's talking. Before we even have to just put it on pause, it's like, oh, there it is right there. That's the issue. You thought, or I see why you think like that, but that's not that. Because I was listening. I was really listening. I might be listening to see if I was gonna win this debate or not. But sometimes, and I'm humble enough to be like, got it. That's what bothered you? I apologize. You know, that type of thing. We end it.
Yeah. And, you know, she mentioned, too, once you're done with the situation, you can't keep coming back to it. And she likened it, because at that time, our child, Riley, we only had Riley. We didn't have Kingston. Riley was like 2, something like that. And he likened it to him and Riley saying, you know, if you discipline Riley one time for something, you discipline her, you know, she's in trouble, all that good stuff. The next day, are you going to discipline her again for... Right. And so for what she did yesterday, you know, and so he said no. And so she said, well, you can't do that to your spouse either. So once you're done with it, you have to be totally done with it. You can't keep on rehashing. You can't keep bringing it up. It's over. And you have to be okay with always not being able to come to an agreement. At some point, it's like, you know what? Okay, I hear you. I respect you. I don't agree with you. And we got to table
We're going to agree to
That's
this.
okay to say that.
It's okay.
I don't agree now, but all right.
And you don't be cursing them out a little bit when you mad.
Yeah, I do.
And then you keep it moving. Okay. All right. So let's get into some business advice, though, because we can't just talk about the love without also talking about these successful multi-million-dollar brands that you all have built. How, and I don't know, do you all work much like together in your businesses?
Yeah, we do.
So, you know what? I remember the video of Jason sitting at the table printing off the labels when you first started Body Envy.
Yep.
You're like, man, she got me over here doing all this work. And to see y'all sitting at that kitchen table, to see what y'all are doing now, like it truly is inspirational to watch, to, you know, have been able to see you grow. What is your advice for someone out there who would love to have a business partnership with their significant other? Like, how do you keep business, regardless of your personal feelings, regardless of what went on, you know, this morning? Like, how do you keep the main thing the main thing?
Let me say something.
Okay.
There's a lot of hobbies you and your spouse can do, but you're not going to find one better than getting money with your spouse.